Now let's talk about tests and targets. So we'll start with tests. So tests is basically if you want to implement any QA sort of thing, if you want to implement a quality check before your tables go to production, or even do a routine tests on your table or your transformation logic, that's where tests come in picture. So let me explain this to you in through an example. So we have a table which is sample model 3, and this has ID, and there are venture code against these IDs. So what if we want to have a test case that we will only have one ID against a venture code? So we cannot have two rows for an ID. So that's my test case. What if I want to implement that? So I want to make sure that ID1 Delhi, there is no ID1 Kolkata or ID1 Chennai, something like that. So what will my QA team do in this case? It's very simple. You'll have to write the failure statement here, basically, right? So if you see what I have done, I've created a sample model 7.sql inside tests folder, and I've written the fail logic, right? The logic which will return me the value which I don't want. Okay, so let me explain. Maybe it's a bit confusing, right? So here if you see, against ID I'm counting venture code, and I know if I have more than one count in this second count row, then that means something is wrong, right? My test case should fail. So that's what I have given here. So count venture code greater than 1. So in this case, if you see, let's run this test case and then it will be more clear, right? So if I'm doing DBT test is the syntax, it will run all your test cases. So now see, it completed successfully, right? My test case has passed. Okay, now let me go backwards and try to explain. So why my test case has passed? Because it could not find anything related to this. So it could not find anything in this particular logic that I had given you, right? So in simple words, your test case should return 0 rows for it to pass. So that's what test cases are. Now if it returns more than one or more than one rows, that means your test case has failed. That means this condition is true, right? So let's see this with an example. So we know this is our table 3. So what we will do, we'll try to insert some data into this table 3. Okay, so let's insert into sample model 3. Let's insert, we have ID and we have venture code. Okay, so the values we want to insert is suppose 1, and against 1 if I want to insert Jalpaiguri. Okay, let's insert Jalpaiguri. Now let's see what happens. So I'm going to insert it here. So now if you see this table, it has multiple rows against 1. That means for my QA team, this is a failure, right? So now if we run this test case, it fails. So that's what we are expecting, right? So we should be getting this failure results after running this test case. So yeah, so let's just remember, this should return 0 rows for it to pass. All right, so that's about test. Let's quickly cover targets. So what are targets? So whatever we are running here, we are compiling, or whenever we are running locally, it gets stored here, right, in compiled and run version. So whenever you compile any model, it gets stored in this compiled version. So in case there is something wrong with the model, you can quickly go here and see, right, what was the last code that was going to be executed on my database. So for example, here if you see, so this is supposed to be executed on database, right? And if you see something is wrong with this run statement, then you can go here and debug what's happening. Same for run as well. Like I said in one of my last lectures, generally we should ignore these files while uploading it into Git. So I'll have those things covered in a more advanced series of videos. But I think this is all for the basic introduction to DBT. I think this can let you get started, or if you already have a broad level DBT environment, this can help you start writing your code. I'm going to create another series of videos which will explain how we push DBT in production and how organizations use DBT on a production level with other advanced features as well. But that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much.